So a few days ago, I tried out the brand new B.E.S structure deck. For 7 hours on stream, I tried my absolute hardest to try to get this archetype to work in combination with its brand new skill. And by the end of those 7 hours, I can safely say, I failed miserably. The archetype felt awful. I hated it. It just felt really bad and just unfun to play. So I essentially just gave up on it, pushed it to the side, and tried to forget about it. But throughout that stream, I got a ton of requests to try out the archetype with different things. Try it out with the Rescue Rabbit, try it out with Orcust, try it out with Fleur, but I sort of just ignored those requests because I wanted to try to get this archetype working with its intended skill first, as I kind of figured that Konami's design team would design a really fun skill that I'd really enjoy to play with the deck list, and I'd have a real blast playing it. Yeah, that didn't sort of turn out to fruition, but I pushed it aside, gave up on it because it felt really bad, and just never picked up the archetype again. Until yesterday, where I received a couple of pings on Discord in regards to a YouTube video by Yuki. This video showed off that exact combination that I just mentioned, Orcust and playing Rescue Rabbit. The synergy here looked really good. This archetype actually looked really fun when played with this pairing, so they inspired me. I decided, screw it, I'll pick up the deck list again and I'll try to give it another go, this time with this specific pairing of Orcust and the Rabbit stuff. And turns out, it's pretty good. Now, there were a couple of things I didn't quite like about Yuki's deck list that I wanted to change up for my video, but if you want to check out their original idea or just see another example of this combination, I do highly recommend checking out their video, and I'll leave a link to it at the top of the description as well as in a pinned comment. Their video was great, it's what inspired me to make this one, so go check it out. Alright, let me just show you what this deck list can do. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see some more content just like this in the future and more videos from me in the future, please remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's jump into this deck list. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the deck list today, considering I just did a B.E.S video, so you probably know what that stuff does by now. I've done multiple Rescue Rabbit videos very recently, so you definitely know what those do, and I've done a couple of Orcust videos in the past, so you probably know what those cards do. So there's not really a whole lot to explain in here. What I do want to talk about though is the synergy and why we're actually playing these two archetypes together. So the main number one synergy, the reason we're playing this stuff together is of course your Dingirsu in combination with your Metal Slave is a banger combo. This card obviously likes to destroy cards on your field to destroy cards on your opponent's field. Dingirsu stops your cards being destroyed by card effects. So if you have them both on the field, all of a sudden your Metal Slave, even though it's continuously targeting itself to destroy your opponent's stuff, it remains on the field and can keep doing so multiple times a turn. Typically, Metal Slave with Dingirsu is going to be 3 pops, 2 detaches from Ding, and then 1 just popping itself to pop on your opponent's cards. So 3 pops from 1 monster as long as this is face up on the field. A really nice little combo. But there is other synergy in here as well. The other main synergy is the fact that everything in here is machine, so things like your Gear X, which can search for level 4 or lower machine type monsters, can not only search for your Orcust starter, it can search for things like Orcust Harp Horror, which is really good when you've got a card that can pop cards out of your hand, because obviously you want this in graveyard, but it can also search for things like Armored Core, which is really useful when you've got a card that needs a Armored Core in hand or needs a B.E.S in hand in order to summon itself. All of a sudden you can use your skill, put this on field, grab this card from your deck list, reveal this in hand, and you can search for your Boss on Parade and just continue your combos from there. So yeah, really nice little synergy here because everything happens to be a machine. Also, some extra little synergies. This thing is a dark monster, so although this is a light monster and you can't summon it after doing your Orcust stuff, this card, you can do full Orcust combo, then summon this afterwards if you want to, a little bit of nice synergy there. And also, this is a machine dark. So you can just send this thing to the graveyard with things like your Nightmare to give your monsters a 1100 attack boost. It's a bit of a... It won't come up too often, but it's pretty funny if your opponent tries to swing into you, or you just need that little bit of extra damage to kill your opponent. Orcust Nightmare can send this to the graveyard to give your monsters a massive attack boost, so... yeah, there's tons of synergy all over the place. It honestly just feels way better than playing Pure, in my opinion. The old skill just locks you way too hard, just does not feel fun at all. this actually feels like a viable, strong deck. I wouldn't say it's top tier or anything like that, but it's certainly a lot better than trying to play the previous skill. So yeah, without further ado, let me show you some replays of what this can do. Alright, so today I've got 6 replays to share with you guys, and all of them are absolute bangers. I really tried hard to get some decent replays today to show off just how good this deck can be, so we'll show off this deck going off against some more meta-ish stuff, things like Blue Eyes and your Shinobirds. There's a couple of off-meta stuff as well, but I really tried to just get some really banger replays. Now do keep in mind, although it is going to show off me beating a few of these top tier archetypes, I do think this deck has some pretty significant weaknesses that I'll talk about sort of during the gameplay that will definitely keep it out of being like a top tier meta relevant deck list, but it's certainly a hell of a lot better than playing pure, that is for sure. The old skill is just, don't touch that thing. This is a hell of a lot better, at least in my opinion, so let me show you why. Alright, so starting us off, we've got a Shinobird matchup, and I think I was going first here. So, unfortunately, I'd say the Shinobird matchup is terrible for you, because you really need to draw either Droplet or your Chalice, otherwise you're just going to get hit by the Amano, your field's negated, you can't play the game. Real cringe, but there's not really much you can do about it, so that's why I'm playing the Chalice and the Droplet in here, just because otherwise this matchup is unplayable. Okay, we've got one this time, so it is a little bit more playable now. And even if you do open it, it still feels pretty hard, because most of the time, most Shinobird players have backrow removal, or they have things that they can do to just sort of spam out monsters anyway. It's a bit of a rough one. Something you can do in this matchup is the Boss Bomb Parade can give your opponent a monster, which would then make it so they can't use their skill to put a dude on field. Sometimes it's worth it. In this case, I just want to use the Boss on Parade as something to sort of bait out things like Cosmics and MSTs and stuff to try to defend the Droplet, because it's incredibly important this thing survives. So I don't even bother this game, but you could theoretically give your opponent a thing to stop them putting the Mind Control on field. Alright. So, did my rescue, I got my 2 dudes, made my Gigan X, he searches for my Harp, or my Scrap Recycler, who sends Harp to the graveyard. And then summon this thing to the field, summon this dude from the deck, making your Ultimatum. Nightmare going to be boosting the attack, sending a dude, Wand going to be summoning back to the field, these 2 making Masquerader, Ultimatum shuffling back in, grabbing the field spell, before finally ending on the Dingirsu. Attaching everything and setting a card. Alright, so what have we ended on here? We've got Dingirsu on field, which is going to be a full protection from destruction effects, which is really important, because this card obviously destroys itself to destroy other cards on the field. So, with Dingirsu on the field, it defends this card from destroying itself. So, that is already 2 pops using Ding, a third he can just use on himself, so that's 3 pops from this card. We have Dingirsu potentially in the graveyard in a moment after we go through IP Masquerader for another summon back to remove one of your opponent's things. And IP Masquerader can go into 2 options. It can go into either your Nightmare Unicorn, or it can go into a Topologic Bomber Dragon. If it goes into Topologic will have 2 more board nukes for your opponent's stuff, because you summon back Dingirsu from graveyard, of course, and we also allow to summon back the, whoever Harp is, I think Harp's you. Harp summons the symbol from the deck, so summons the symbol from the deck, pops the field, and the symbol summons back the Dingirsu, pops the field again. So that's why we're playing the Topologic as well. Alright, and of course we've got backrow as well with the Droplet, which is used purely for our Mano. Just going to pop this before you do any mind controlling, defending the monster from being destroyed. Activates the Shinobird's Cooling, summoning out the Peacock. Of course, we're just going to have to force to negate that. This is sort of what I mean, by the way, when I say, like, it's not even foolproof to have this versus Amano, because if he had, like, an Amano now, that'd be, like, it. Thankfully, I think he just sort of needed this to go off or something. He was relying on the Amano to come out of this. But yeah, got negated, you get to pop it. And I believe I use the Book of Eclipse, we can IP Masquerade in response. The entire field becomes a Topologic Bomber Dragon. And thankfully, it turns out the last 2 cards were not enough. So I think we got a bit lucky there. Normally, if they do something like that where they just force out your Droplet, you're probably cooked. But in that case, we were fine. Alright. Next up we have Blue Eyes with Seto Kaiba. So Blue Eyes, I would say, is actually a bit more of an easier matchup than Shinobird. Purely because if you go first, Dingirsu defends your field from being destroyed by card effects. You can give your opponent a monster using the spell card, which stops them putting the things on the field. Play the things you can do against them going first. And going second, it's probably not the easiest, but it's also not as bad as it could be. As some decks like completely shit on you going second. This one, it's not too bad. I'd say this matchup is at least more friendly than other ones, which is weird considering Blue Eyes is like a tier 1 deck, but anyway. I think they're still definitely favoured, obviously, but we at least have like ways to play through their stuff, like you'll see in this replay. Although we're against a Blue Eyes that for some reason summoned Croc. This guy just loved adding cards to hand. I think he used like multiple melodies, drew 2 off the Croc. This guy just really likes having cards in hand. Tree of Light, grabbing the Majesty. Grabbing a trade in as well. Yeah, this guy just... If I had a drawn Lockbird here, oh my god, the drawn Lockbird value would have been insane. Melody once again. My goodness, this guy's actually just deleting his own deck. Alright. My turn. So Rescue Out first. Going to be putting 2 dudes on the field. He's going to prevent that, obviously, by popping it with the Croc. Core going to be summoning to the field. Slave sending a bunch of dudes. Ultimate Fusion. Core going to be summoning in response. I don't know why he used this so early. He's going to pop this instead of the Metal Slave now, which is interesting. Metal Slave can now get popping some things, forcing out his trap card. Alright, we're now going to add our Boss on Parade to grab our Armored Core. Boss on Parade popping the Orcust in hand, then put this dude on the field from the deck. Making an Automaton. Could even have made a rank 4 there, by the way, using the normal summon and this. That's why the deck list has 2 copies of this, because one, you're going to be dumping to the graveyard with your big guy, and this one is actually can be searched for and be used as a normal summon to go into rank 4s and stuff. Orchestrated Babble. Dingirsu going to be sending a card to the graveyard, obviously going to be hitting the True Light. Now his Ritual trap card was available here the entire time, so I know there was definitely no lethal this turn, so I'm like, I'm just going to try to set up something so that I have some sort of disruption on the opponent's turn. So I just make Nightmare, shuffle this thing away, and at least have Dingirsu in graveyard, so not the most insane disruption left over, but at least it's something. Rather than just like, yeah, trying to go for lethal when I knew you could do this. Alright, boosting the attack, Skeleton reviving, sending a card, and he just concedes here. It's a nice little gameplay there. I think he wasn't the best Blue Eyes player around, but it's just ladder, man. What do you expect? Late month ladder. Alright, once again, up against Shinobird. I think I'm going second in this one, I think. I think most of the replays I saved today were going second. Alright. So I'll fast forward his turn, don't really care what he's doing. I think he just gets an actually buttload of tech cards, I think, is all he was sort of going for. A lot of Nikitamas. Sakatama on these nuts. Nikitama drawing, grabbing the Peacock, grabbing the Cooling. Nikitama, so normal summon Sakatama again. And finally ending on... I think he kind of messed up here, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't able to actually do his Ritual Summon on my turn. We actually had the out for it if he did do the Ritual Summon, but he actually, I think, was meant to set a trap card here, but set too many cards. So I don't think he used the trap card at all. Yeah, we had the out for it even if he did do it. I don't think I would have saved this replay if he didn't just have the out as well, just to show that, like, even if he did have it, we were still fine. But anyway, summoning the Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit going to be flipping over, tripping itself, summoning a couple of dudes. He's going to try to Eclipse me, delete my field, don't want that shit on the field. Negation, negation. Metal Slave, summoning to the board. That's a 400 attack IP to beat over, by the way. Rainbow Border. Oh, that actually looks really good. Setting the Horror, Horror going to be summoning. IP Masquerena. Nightmare going to be boosting the attack. World 1 going to be reviving the Harp. Grabbing the field spell. Doesn't really matter if he pops this, don't really care. Could have made this thing first to defend against that, but it really matters. Alright, Dingirsu going to be attaching. We're going to be beating over. Beating over again. And Metal Slave can pop the final 2, and this card can go for lethal. We actually have 3 pops from the slave here, because it can pop 2 and then it can pop itself. So even if he did summon the big ritual, we could have negated it and then popped it as well. So we weren't scared of anything here. Even if he did have the ritual, he was still dead. I think he must have messed up his combo here somewhere. Yeah, it's not the greatest Shinobird player either, but it showed off a lot of what the deck can do, which is sort of the whole point. Alright, next is... This was... the graveyard counter deck thing, I forgot the name of it. Exosister, that's right. Alright, once again going second. I believe we also drew Droplet this game, so... Yeah, we've got Chalice as well. Yeah, this deck is pretty reliant on drawing the Chalice and the Droplet, at least one of them, going second, but thankfully... And it can do some plays without them, obviously, because you can just put the rabbit on field, try to go for rank 4, that forces out stuff. Summon out the big boss monster, that forces out stuff. Orcus stuff also forces out things. These two can discard the Orcus to get their plays going. There's stuff you can do without these, but it's pretty reliant on having them if you want to have, like, a consistent win rate going second. Thankfully, the skill does actually draw cards, though, so you do get them fairly regularly. Alright, Rabbit tripping itself. Why did I say Rabbit? Rabbit tripping itself. Out comes the Tornado Dragon. If my opponent had more cards, by the way, we could also have gone for the Evil Storm Exciton Knight, which could have then gone for the same thing, and we could do the exact same play we do here, where we dodge his back row with the Forbidden Droplet, and his last back row is gone. If he had more cards than me, I could Exciton his entire field. It's a very common thing you can do with Exciton. Alright. Harp Horror gonna be summoning out, making the RP Masquerena. World 1 gonna be summoning as well. These two gonna be coming your Automatum. Automatum, shuffle them back in. Making Dingirsu, attempting to send his monster. Oh no, sorry, I actually attached my card to it actually. Use this card to send instead, but he actually had an effect fail to defend himself. But he takes 2600, and we've got multiple. Actually, we've got no pops on his turn. We have got the back row though. It's kind of weird that these cards lose their tokens when they hit by a Veiler or negated or something. Kind of a weird ruling. Not sure I particularly agree with that ruling existing. Not sure why counters would be removed, as why they're counted as part of the effect, but anyway. Can the idea of like counters just be like pretending they're physical counters? I don't. Anyway, maybe I'm just too much of a boomer from other card games. Which I'd be interested to see if that happens in Magic. If a card gets effects like negated or something, if it removes the counters from it. Here's some Magic nerd in the comments can tell me. Alright, Rescue Rabbit gonna be summoning out 2 dudes, making the Gear Gigans. Once again up against Blue Eyes, I think. Alright, right, Scrap the Cyclist, sending to the graveyard. Unfortunately, we didn't get the spell card this time, so I can't show putting the spell card in his field to stop him, the monster on his field to stop him getting a trap card. It's not that needed in this matchup, considering Dingirsu defends against the trap anyway, but I have had a few Blue Eyes players play the other negation trap card, which is actually really annoying for your field, so probably best to just give them the thing anyway so they can't just get a card from their deck. Okay, Metal Slave. You'll notice, by the way, that Metal Slave is actually a dark monster, so it can be it can be summoned after doing the Orcus combo. Keep in mind, this one is not, so you can't do this after doing the Orcus stuff. It's just the slaves, just canvas because it's dark. Another fun fact, actually, is this card is not only is this a dark monster, it's also a machine. So if you have the card, I think I shuffled it back here, the other Nightmare card. Where is he? This card. This card can send him to graveyard to boost the attack of a monster on field by 11 levels. So it gets like, what is that, 1100 attack or something? Yeah, 1100 attack instead of the 800 you get from sending the wand like you normally do. Which is kind of funny. You can just actually boost the shit out of something by like 1100 attack. Bit of interesting little bit of synergy there. To add to the synergy the deck already has. Alright, so we've got our Skeleton in hand, we want that in graveyard. He tries to use the trap card, we don't care, we've got Ding on field, so whatever. we're going to be negating that with the skeleton, so the skeleton is available now. Doesn't mean we can't go into our unicorn anymore, but that's fine. We can go into the other one if we wanted to. Tries to summon our Tyrant Dragon. I don't really know why. No Slave just going to be popping that. Just concedes. Yeah, we could have gone for the big Link 4 there and still had 2 more pops as well. Alright, next up we have our final game, and this was against the Chef deck. This one, it wasn't a meta matchup, but I wanted to save it because it showed off the sort of turn 1 that I was looking to show off in the other replays. I was actually doing, towards the end of the replays that I was gathering, I was actually conceding a buttload of games because I just wanted to go first with the spell card and give my opponent a monster. I wanted to do that and show off that replay in particular because I hadn't got one of those yet. And I was like, trying to get this replay for like over an hour or something, and for some reason, I just could not get the combination of going first with spell card in hand. It just would not happen. But now I got in this replay, so I was like, fine, I'll just do it here. This guy had an archive skill, so I was like, doing this was kind of like, unless they're Sky Striker, it's kind of pointless. But I wanted to show this off to show you in the video, you can do this, and just wouldn't show me in any other replays. I was not, every time I rolled a Blue Eyes player, it kept making me go second, so. Anyway. So I give my opponent a monster here. If you open this card, by the way, you can also do this at the start of your turn to avoid getting imperms, which is also pretty cool as well. I think I actually could have done that. Oh no, I didn't. I had to search for this here. But sometimes, if you open this going first, you can actually destroy a monster instantly to avoid imperm. As well as turn off skills like Blue Eyes and Shadol, and I think Shadol gets turned off if it has a monster on field. There's actually a bunch of skills that get turned off with a monster on field. There are bonus effects. Like Resonator, for example, can't put their Fiendish Chain on field. Alright. Attaching, sending some stuff. Going my Babble, and passing the turn. Alright. Pretty banger Enfield, actually. Book of Eclipse. So, Book of Eclipse, when their opponent is bad, isn't too bad against this deck, because you can just make the Link 4 and be happy, because you just have the Link 4, you still have multiple pops, that kind of stuff. But against a good player, they'll use Book of Eclipse in your draw phase, which means you can't use your IP Masquerader. So you'll have to do this card popping your own monster to get these 2 in graveyard. So it's not the end of the world, because you still have your Dingirsu, send 1, and you still have then, after that, making your Unicorn to remove something. You've still got cards in hand. I didn't here, but this guy didn't use in draw phase anyway. So there is things you can do if you get Eclipsed, which is more than you can say for standard B.E.S. But obviously, it's not great. You prefer to have your big pops on field and all that kind of stuff. We even have a Chalice as well, so not the worst. But here, because he's a bad player, I can make the Topologic instead. Topologic isn't necessarily better than Unicorn sometimes, but it's more fun. An indestructible Topologic Bomber Dragon. Also very funny in this particular scenario. He goes for the spell card, which needs to summon a monster to my field. The only zones he's got available are the ones below the arrow. So he gets his own card popped. I probably shouldn't negate this Novell here, I wasn't really sure if it was worth it or not. So I can actually conduct a Pendulum Summon right now, a bit sketch. Unfortunately drew into a Kaiju, so there goes my Topologic plans. This recipe, making the little guy. Don't maybe try to pronounce that name, it'll not go well. Target his own monster so I can chain my Chalice. Unfortunately, he's got a negate for that, but at least now the negate is gone, so it can't stop me building my wall in case I need to build a wall. We do have a Harpower engraved to summon out something to build a wall. Also, he pops this spell instead of the field spell, which was kind of odd. But it turns out he wasn't even able to kill me this turn anyway, if he wanted to, by the looks of things. Which is pretty stinks in defense, even. Didn't even try to swing. End phase, summoning out the Nightmare. Alright, one's going to be summoning back. He's going to use this. Thankfully, we have a droplet, though, for this annoying card before it does annoying things. Negating his thing. Nightmare going to be boosting. Sending the Harp. Harp reviving. Send Dead. Could you summon this in defense position, or does this force you to summon an attack? I guess he wanted an attack for his own card effect, I'm guessing, but being an attack was, yeah, not the, maybe not the greatest idea. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, that kind of stuff. So remember, this deck list, it was really fun and is pretty fun to play, but it's not going to be some top tier meta relevant deck list, so don't take these replays as like, oh yeah, this deck is insane or anything. It's just a full fun deck that seems to be a lot better than playing just pure, in my opinion. So yeah, that's going to do it for replays. Hope you enjoyed them. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.